Find for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Find what you love, love what you find. A Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you. Spirits and beer, thousands of wines. Guides in the know and prices so low, it just might blow your mind. You're gonna find what you love and love what you find.
Only at Total Wine and More. Drink responsibly. Be 21.
Joey, let's get some drive-thru.
Yeah, bro. Food.
I'm gonna have to ask you to step out of the car, sir.
Joey, let's get some drive-thru, man.
Let's order delivery instead.
If you feel different, you drive different, and driving high is a DUI. If you think no one can tell you're high, think again. Your friends, family, and especially law enforcement can see right through it. If you feel different, you drive different. Drive high and get a DUI. Brought to you by NHTSA.
South Jersey's official play-by-play home of the Eagles, Sixers, and Flyers.
At 0 point would I ever consider not being a fan of the team.
97.3 ESPN, WENJ, WENJ HD, Millville, Atlantic City. A Town Square media station serving all of South Jersey. This is Game Night with Josh Hinnick.
Let's go!
On 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
And he scored!
Now live from inside the Ocean Casino Resort Studio, here's Josh Hinnick.
Eagles finally have their first roster of the 2024 NFL season. How long it'll stay the way it is currently, well, we're going to find out pretty soon. We'll get you covered here on 97.3 ESPN FM, the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. Also, Phillies have won another game. They're starting to win games in a row again. It's kind of a strange feeling, but we'll get into the Phillies win last night as they get their ready for their second game against the Houston Astros tonight. Coming up at 6:35 tonight, Andy McNamara will join us to get more into the latest NFL news. A lot of movement today in the NFL. We'll try to get you updated on the latest and greatest here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN with me, Josh Hinnick. Text board is open at 609-403-0973. You also get your DMs coming in to the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. So let's get into the Eagles' initial 53-man roster. And I got to tell you guys, I am surprised by some of the moves that have been made. I'm going to be posting an article at 973ESPN.com when the show is done tonight, because some of these moves, I'm telling you guys, it does make you question what the Eagles' long-term plan is. How about I put it that way? Because you look at the list of guys who were cut versus the list of guys who are on the team, you definitely walk away knowing that this version of the 53-man roster isn't the final 53. It isn't the game day 53. This roster will change. And, it will change significantly. And there is two specific position groups that are going to change that I don't think people are really mentally wrapping their head around, because, if this was 15, 20 years ago, the roster that came out would be the roster that you have. But now you look at the names of the guys who were let go. You only have 2 tight ends on this team. And for an offensive coordinator who is well known for using the tight end position, Kellen Moore in Dallas and with the Chargers, and both of his stops, heavily uses the tight end. The tight end is a big part of the offensive game plan. Well, guess what? The Eagles, as currently constructed, only have 2 tight ends. Dallas Goedert, Grant Calcaterra. Now, can they get E.J. Jenkins through waivers and land him on the practice squad? Albert O, he is going to be on injured reserve for at least the first few games of the year. Now, there's one name out there that I think is interesting. I know some of you Eagle Out fans out there will tell me Jack Stoll. But let me give you another name. Because Stoll could always be just stashed on the practice squad and they call him up when they need him. David Perham. Now, some of you might be like, who? You get all the memes of, Snoop Dogg or of Conor McGregor saying, who is that guy? Well, the reason why I bring up the Chargers tight end is because Donald Perham was with the Chargers last year when Kellen Moore was there, and he had 4 touchdown catches. So he knows Kellen Moore's offense. He has showed himself to be a productive player in that offense, and he's not a number 1 tight end. So, frankly, he could be a very important target for this team. Now, Stoll's the other one. Now, the reason why I mentioned Stoll, though, is more of a practice squad guy, is because I don't foresee Philadelphia going out of their way to give him a roster spot if they could potentially have that roster spot for somebody else. That's at least how I look at it. All right. So those are 2 names to keep an eye on because, again, Philadelphia is not going to go in to the first game of the season with only 2 tight ends and 2 tight ends who have a history of being injured. Let's not underplay that part. Philadelphia has a history of injuries with Goddard and Grand Calcaterra. So if you can get Donald Parham in here, that would at least give you a 3rd tight end to have on the roster if you can claim him off waivers. Or you can pick him up, I should say. He was released, not put on waivers. And then Jack Stoll could be the other tight end. Because obviously Philadelphia was not happy with CJ Uzama and EJ Jenkins. Sorry. So it's CJ Uzama and EJ Jenkins. Jenkins didn't do enough for this team to keep him on the roster. So he might end up on the practice squad. We'll see. So that's the first position I am definitely having a little bit of an eyebrow raise at. The second position I have eyebrow raise is backup center. As of right now, there is no backup center on this team. They waived the rookie Dylan McMahon. They let go Nick Gates and Matt Hennessy and Brett Toth, who took the majority of the second team reps in training camp and started games in the preseason. All of those guys, all of them are players who can have a major role as the backup center, but the Eagles said, nah, to none, all of them. Now, I don't know if that means they just don't like all of them or if they are keeping an eye out on the waiver wire for someone else. I think that is a part of it. I think that for whatever reason, they were not happy with the guys they had. Because we know Philadelphia, if they're happy with someone, they like a player, then they'll go out and get him. Right? They'll do whatever it takes to keep the guy. So that's at least how I look at it. I look at it as Philadelphia was not happy with Toth, Hennessy, Gates, and Dylan McMahon was a 6th-round pick because he was an undersized center. So they're going to have to bring somebody back to back up Juergens because, again, Juergens is now taking the Jason Kelce role. And that's not an easy job to do. Being the guy who takes over for Kelce, it's not an easy job. And realistically, the only player on this team right now who's not named Cam Juergens, who has any experience at college or the professional level snapping the ball, is Dickerson. And we know the Eagles do not like to move guys from a position of strength and making a position of weakness to fill a void. So expect them to bring in somebody, whether it's on the roster or on the practice squad, to play center. Now, again, we could sit here and go through every player released today and say, what about him? What about him? And we would all lose our minds. So the larger point here is that if you are Philadelphia, you still have to answer questions about the offensive line and tight end on offense. I'm not overly concerned about receiver because with Ainias Smith being put on the reserve injured list and assuming that someone from another team will probably land on your practice squad or maybe be picked up off waivers, I'm not too worried about that. I do think it's interesting that Philadelphia is in a position where they probably made the most difficult decision of all on defense. James Bradbury. Now, Howie Roseman told the media today that Bradbury has good football instincts and they like his skill set. And that's a part of the reason why he's here. Ultimately, though, the real reason why Bradbury is here is because he has a $15 million dead cap hit, and the Eagles don't feel like it's worth getting rid of him. And the Eagles admitted today their roster is incomplete. They admitted that the roster you see right now is not the final roster, it's not the game day roster. So the Eagles have confirmed what I'm telling you, and I got a lot of questions about this team moving forward. Because again, if you're keeping Bradbury on defense, that ignores the Sidney Brown question. Remember, Sidney Brown will be eligible to return after the bye week. Remember, for your designated return, you have to miss at least 4 games. Well, the Eagles' first 4 games are right before the bye week. So Sidney Brown could come back in week 6. If he does come back in week 6, whose roster spot does he take? Again, Bradbury's got a huge cap number. Would they trade him? Would they cut Bradbury? Tristan McCollum. He's a young, versatile player who can play safety, can play nickel corner, and is a special teams contributor. Would you really want to let him go and risk him being picked up by another team? And then Avonte Maddox, he is inexpensive, but he's versatile. Injury history, but he's versatile. He can play safety. He can play nickel corner. And if you're Philadelphia, financially, it wouldn't hurt you to let him go to put Sidney Brown on the roster. But do you really want to get rid of Avonte Maddox? So again, Eagles roster. What do we think after all of that? Stephen Ventnor, I see your text. We'll get to you coming up on the other side. 609-403-0973. Your DMs into the 973 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. Eagles, Phillies talking more. Still to come. Andy McNamara joins us at 6:35. Talk NFL here on 973 ESPN. Josh Hennig hanging out with you on a Tuesday night.
Wake up weekday mornings from 6 to 10 a.m. with Unsportsmanlike on 97.3 ESPN with Evan Cohen, Super Bowl champion Chris Canty, and Michelle Small.
Can't wake up without it.
Brought to you by the Gallery Bar Book and Games at Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City.
With GMF financing to qualified buyers excludes Traverse and Corvette excludes prior sales.
It's Bennett Chevy's end of summer blowout. Hurry in now for deals you can't find anywhere else. Our best deals of the year. Like $500 below GM supplier employee prices on new Chevys. Yes, you pay $500 less than our employees pay. Plus, Bennett gives you all the rebates. That could save you up to 10% on your new Chevy. Save even more with available 0.9% financing. And Bennett Chevy is South Jersey's EV headquarters with a great selection of EVs, hybrids, SUVs, and Chevy trucks. And right now, we're paying a whopping 10 grand minimum for any old trade. We don't care if it runs, just get it here. That's at least $10,000 for total junk towards any pre-owned in stock. Imagine how much we'll pay for a good trade. And our non-commissioned sales team is paid on your satisfaction, not how much you spend. So you'll love your no-hassle, no-haggle experience. Together, let's drive at Bennett Chevy, Egg Harbor Township, and BennettChevy.com.
Tommy! I can't wait for golf this weekend, huh, buddy? Time flies. Love you, man. Oh, don't forget your knee brace again. We aren't in college anymore.
Moments together matter, so help protect yourself from RSV. If you're 75 or older or 60 plus with a chronic condition like asthma, COPD, heart disease, or severe diabetes, you're at higher risk of landing in the hospital from RSV, and there are no prescription RSV treatments. Check eligibility and schedule your RSV vaccine at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Some people just know the best rate for you is a rate based on you with Allstate. Not a rate based on Terry who keeps and makes the car behind them. Oh no, they're about to. Save with DriveWise and the Allstate app and only pay a rate based on you.
Not available in every state, subject to terms and conditions. Rating factors and savings vary, and in some states your rate could increase with high-risk driving. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Hi, I'm Cesar Milan. People are always commenting on how happy and healthy my dogs are. One of the reasons is the food my dogs eat.
Introducing Dr. Marty's Nature's Blend, a premium freeze-dried raw dog food.
I have been feeding them Dr. Marty's freeze-dried raw formula for years. And this food is a big part of why their jaws are more flexible, their teeth are cleaner, and their coats shinier, and why they seem more youthful and playful.
And dog parents across the U.S. are loving it.
My dog Hazel is a 10-and-a-half-year-old golden retriever. And ever since I've been feeding her Dr. Marty's Nature's Blend food, she is like a puppy again. It's unbelievable.
We're so confident your dog will love it. Your order is backed with a 90-day guarantee. And for a limited time, save up to 54% off Nature's Blend and get a free bag of Cod Krispies. They're wild-caught, ultra-crunchy cod skin treats. Go to drmartypets.com/deal or text DEAL to 511-511. Text DEAL to 511-511 today. All dogs are unique. Your dog results can and will vary. Message and data rates may apply.
What's better than one win? 3 wins. With Straight Savings, you keep your own phone, get one line for only $25 a month with real unlimited data, and get rewarded with a $200 phone credit after 12 months. It's a win-win-win. Head to Walmart or visit straighttalk.com today. Switch to Straight Talk. Less dollars, more sense. Straight Savings Plan enrollment requires compatible unlocked device and new line of service. Bonus device credit requires 12 months of active service. Offer ends if eligibility requirements are no longer met. Taxes and fees apply. For network management practices, see Straight Talk's terms and conditions.
Progressive presents Renters MVP's Most Valuable Possessions. Today's MVP, Emily Neal's 70-inch TV. Because after watching her second-grade students yell at each other for hours, there's nothing Emily enjoys more than watching super-rich housewives also yell at each other. Why? Because those women are not her responsibility. And that's why her TV is today's MVP. Keep your most valuable possessions protected by bundling your renters and auto insurance with Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers not available in all states.
Powered by the all-new BetParks New Jersey Casino and Sportsbook app. BetParks.com. This is the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network.
It's NFL Cutdown Day as rosters get trimmed down to 53 players. I'm Nick Earnshaw with your South Jersey Sports Center and with your 97.3 ESPN question of the day. The Eagles will finalize their 53-man roster today as they head into Week 1 against the Packers. With that being said, our 97.3 ESPN question of the day is, how many wins do you think the Eagles will finish with this year? Let us know by texting 609-403-0973 or use the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app. In my opinion, I think it's going to be 11 wins for the Philadelphia Eagles this year. I think defense will struggle at times. I think the Eagles will be outscoring opponents when they win games. They got a tough schedule. They're going on the road a lot, especially early on in the season with the Brazil game. And you go to the Saints, you go to the Buccaneers, Giants. You have a lot of road games to start the year. So I think 11 wins sounds about right. Once again, text at 609-403-0973. Your forecast is next.
Getting behind the wheel after drinking could change your world. Bobby here had a great time at the party and thought he was good to drive home. Now, Bobby's facing jail time, an upset wife, disappointed parents, and up to a $10,000 fine. It only takes one bad decision to change your world forever. Getting behind the wheel after you've been drinking is one of them. Drive sober or get pulled over. Learn more at NHTSA.gov. That's NHTSA.gov. This message brought to you by NHTSA.
Good afternoon. With your South Jersey weather forecast, I'm Joe Kelly. We're going to move from a beautiful day to a very nice night across South Jersey. Very comfortable. Partly cloudy tonight, a low 69. Tomorrow looks hot. Hot. Mostly sunny with a high of 93. And as of right now, we're looking at maybe a little bit of a cooling for the rest of the work week. Thursday and Friday, high temperatures only expected to be in the 70s. Enjoy your evening with your South Jersey weather forecast. I'm Joe Kelly.
From playtime to showtime, Atlantic City always serves classic summer fun with a twist of cool. Visit AtlanticCityNJ.com to win an overnight getaway.
This is Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
As promised, we'll check in on the text board now at 609-403-0973. Your DMs into the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. Don't forget, Andy McNamara will join us coming up in about 15 minutes from now to dig deeper into the latest around the NFL. The first big cut downs of the 2024 NFL season went down today, so we'll get into all of that here on 97.3 ESPN with him. But right now, back to the text board as promised. Steve from Ventnor chiming in. He's got some thoughts on the Eagles at 609-403-0973. Let's get to I want to get to the beginning of what Steve said. He says, my biggest takeaway is the fact the Eagles only kept 2 tight ends. They're going to need to run trips receiver a lot or add another tight end. I like your suggestion of Donald Parham. Yeah, I mean, Parham, like I said, he is a guy who already has been in Kellen Moore's system. He's already familiar with it. And he's someone the Chargers didn't want. And I got to be frank with you guys. Parham is one of those guys like Jahan Dotson that makes you wonder why a team wants to get rid of him, because he just makes too much sense for that team. I'm always stuck between 2 different contrasting point of views when it comes to some of these players, because on one hand, I ask the question, why would a team get rid of a talented player? What do we not know about this guy that would allow a team to part with that player? So that was always my first question. But on the flip side, I always ask, well, what did that team not see in that player that the Eagles can use? And that's kind of the balancing act. And what makes guys like Parham and Jahan Dotson different than, let's say, Paris Campbell and John Ross is that they're both players who are young enough and not worn down enough by the league for you to look at them and still having potential. Whereas guys like Campbell and Ross have been so injured already in their careers that they have not been able to make an impact. Whereas Dotson and Parham have shown that, hey, we can be healthy and we can be productive. So that's why I like those guys. Also, Steve from Venter says, I would hope the Eagles can sneak Josh Jobe into the practice squad. The Josh Jobe thing is interesting because did you guys know that Josh Jobe had the most special team snaps of any player on the Eagles last year? So for those who might not understand, what that means is that there's no player in Philadelphia last year who played more special teams than Josh Jobe. I understand why you let him go, though. You let him go because Josh Jobe is just proving that he is not a good outside corner. Jobe has shown himself to just be unable to be disciplined. He is unable to stop grabbing people, to stop getting penalties called on him, whether it's in practice or in games. So for Philadelphia, he has very little value at this point as a corner. And what the Eagles told you is that we value Eli Ricks. We value Keely Ringo as outside corners much more than Josh Jobe, the special teamer. Now, it doesn't mean they can't sneak him through waivers and get him back on the practice squad, and he could be a call up for a couple weeks. But I think for Philadelphia, it is obvious that Vic Fangio and the Eagles organization, they like what they have seen from Ricks and Ringo, and they did not want to leave them open to being grabbed by somebody. And the same thing goes for Tristan McCollum. Tristan McCollum is a guy who can play safety, he can play nickel corner, and he can play special teams as well. So, Josh Jobe was the risk they were willing to take versus, letting a guy go that they no other teams would be interested in. Because that's part of the chess match for a team like Philadelphia. Part of the chess match is, how do we get other teams to be willing to not take one of the guys that we want to get through waivers and get to our practice squad? It's always been the conundrum in sports for these teams to try to maneuver that. And so it's an inexact science, right? It's not something that you easily figure out, but I'm assuming it's going to be easier to get Josh Jobe through waivers than Ricks, for example. I'm assuming that's part of the conversation. The other part of the conversation is, like I said about Sidney Brown earlier, they need to make sure they have enough safeties on the team for the first 4 weeks of the season. So Maddox, Bradbury, they're the veteran backups to C.J. Garner-Johnson and Reed Blankenship. Tristan McCollum is the guy who can play multiple positions. And it's going to be important because Cooper DeJean, he's still ramping up. He is still returning from that hamstring injury he sustained. And so there's no guarantee that DeJean is even going to be active week 1. Not because he's not a good player. I don't buy into this idea that because a guy is a bad play in a preseason game that I'm ready to sell on him. What I'm saying is that DeJean just might need more time to get up to speed with the defense that's currently constructed. That's at least how I look at it. 609-403-0973. That's the text board. Your DMs into 973 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. All right. Coming up in a little bit, we'll have Andy McNamara join us. We'll talk more NFL with him. A lot of moves being made around the league. A lot of guys being made available. And, what's going to be interesting is the players who got let go. How many of them are teams going to want to pick up? Of the big, quote unquote, bigger names that got cut, you have multiple quarterbacks out there who at one time were considered big time prospects coming out of college. Desmond Ridder, Matt Corral, Will Grier. Do any of those guys find a team? When it comes to position groups, you have running backs like Samaje Perine, Devonta Foreman, Boston Scott. These are all running backs who have played in the NFL and played well. How many of these guys are we keeping an eye on? We'll ask Andy McNamara that coming up next here on Game Night with me, Josh Henning, on 97.3 ESPN FM and a 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle City.
Thursday on Compass Media Network's coverage of NCAA football. We kick off the 2024 season with a cross-conference showdown. The Big Ten's Minnesota Golden Gophers host the North Carolina Tar Heels out of the ACC. Hi, it's Greg Daniels. Join Chad Brown and me for all the action as the hunt for the college football playoffs starts now. It's Minnesota hosting North Carolina. If it's NCAA football, it's right here.
On 97.3 ESPN. Coverage begins at 7:30.
Hot weather is here, and if your air conditioning isn't keeping you cool, or if you're worried about sky-high electric bills, call Jenkins Plumbing and Heating today about a new system from American Standard Heating and Air Conditioning or a Mitsubishi ductless system. Take advantage of no-interest financing along with generous rebates. Additional financing and rebate offers may be available through your local utility company, too. A new AC system can save you 25 to 35% on your AC bill. So call 609-641-6262. Online at jenkinsandsons.com.
I can't believe tax season is here already. Look at all this info I have to enter.
Phil's small accounting firm is growing in numbers.
Why didn't I take that typing class in high school?
A data entry specialist could really help him in a crunch.
I got blisters on my fingers.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
You scaled the sheer cliff face, battling frostbite, running low on oxygen. The wind pierced your skin, and every inch was agony. You reached heights no other human had before, while getting nowhere at airport security. There's more to imagine when you listen. Discover best-selling action titles on Audible.
Hi, I'm Cesar Milan. People are always commenting on how healthy my dogs are. One of the reasons is the food my dogs eat.
Dr. Marty's Nature's Blend is a premium freeze-dried raw dog food designed to support your dog's health, happiness, and lifespan. Save up to 54% off Nature's Blend and get a free bag of cod Krispies. Go to drmartypets.com/deal or text DEAL to 511-511.
Your order is back with a 90-day guarantee.
All dogs are unique. Your dog results can and will vary. Message and data rates may apply.
What's better than one win? 3 wins. With Straight Savings, you keep your own phone, get one line for only $25 a month with real unlimited data, and get rewarded with a $200 phone credit after 12 months. It's a win-win-win. Head to Walmart or visit straighttalk.com today. Switch to Straight Talk. Less dollars, more sense. Straight Savings Plan enrollment requires compatible unlocked device and new line of service. Bonus device credit requires 12 months of active service. Offer ends if eligibility requirements are no longer met. Taxes and fees apply. For network management practices, see Straight Talk's terms and conditions.
Some people just know the best rate for you is a rate based on you with Allstate. Not a rate based on Terry who keeps and makes the car behind them.
Oh no, they're about to.
Save with DriveWise and the Allstate app and only pay a rate based on you.
Not available in every state, subject to terms and conditions. Rating factors and savings vary, and in some states your rate could increase with high-risk driving. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Mom, meet Sarah.
From first-time Nana moments.
Welcome to Flight 101.
To annual girls trip moments. Your can't-miss moments are worth protecting against RSV. If you're 75 or older or 60 plus with a chronic condition like asthma, COPD, heart disease, or severe diabetes, you're at higher risk of landing in the hospital from RSV. And there are no prescription RSV treatments. Check eligibility and schedule your RSV vaccine at vaxassist.com.
So where should we go next?
Sponsored by Pfizer.
O'Reilly! Need a little help? O'Reilly Auto Parts can help. Need advice? We've got advice. No matter what you need, we have thousands of professional parts people doing their part to make sure you have it. Exceptional customer service. Just one part that makes O'Reilly stand apart. The professional parts people.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop, opt out.
If you're using Viagra or Cialis or have thought about using them, listen up. Zeldy is introducing Zeldy Hardies, new 2-in-1 dissolving tablets that get you ready for action in 15 minutes and keep you ready for up to 48 hours. They contain sildenafil and tadalafil, the active ingredients in Viagra and Cialis, but cost 90% less than those brand names. You heard me right. Using both active ingredients and this quick dissolving mechanism allows sildenafil to work in around 15 minutes, and the tadalafil keeps you ready for up to 48 hours. It's powerful results that cost around 90% less. Text tablet to 200-300 to get started. With Zelty, enjoy fast, free, discreet shipping without the hassle of any awkward, time-wasting visits to the doctor's office. We make access as seamless as possible so you can focus on your life and your love life. Get your free medical review and Zelty Hardies, a new way to treat ED, today. Text tablet to 200-300 now. Don't wait. Text tablet to 200-300 right away. Text tablet to 200-300 800-300.
It only happens once a year. The summer clearance sale at Matt Blatt Kia. Have a job clearing $450 per week? Matt Blatt Kia wants to approve you today. 0 down, 0 payments for 90 days, and 0%. So if you're currently stuck in a loan or lease, we want to get you released. Then take $7,500 off MSRP or 0% for 48 months and no payments for 90 days on every clearly marked EV in stock. Plus, with our 4-day love it or leave it return policy, you can drive with peace of mind.
It's gotta be a Matt Blatt Kia.
With approved credit, 24 Nero EV and EV6, 2083 per thousand. Not all will qualify. Credit may affect down payment. Offers can't be combined. Go to mattblattkianj.com for complete details or 888-505-6670. Price includes all costs to be paid by consumer, except for licensing, registration, and taxes through KMF. EV6 rebates and incentives to dealer. Expires 9/3/24. Matt Blatt Kia, 6211 Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township, and on Route 37 in Toms River.
Now, more Game Night with Josh Hennick on 97.3 ESPN and on the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
As promised, joining us now, Andy McNamara. He is the host of the Sick Podcast, as well as fantasy sports expert, and I should note, the defending champion of the 97.3 ESPN Fantasy Football League, showing off his championship ring.
Yeah, I got it. I paid for it with the winnings, but it was worth it, Josh. It was worth it. I'm ready to defend, baby. Look at that. Look at all those fake diamonds. Love it. Only the finest fake diamonds.
Only the finest for Andy McNamara. Only the finest fakes. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good, buddy. Hey, we're here, man. The fantasy football drafts, NFL season. Like I'm pretty pumped up.
So really quick before we get to anything. So I made a tweet earlier and I tagged you, and I'm glad you replied to it. About how like this, it's days like today why I never want to be the guy doing a fantasy draft like August 10th, because it's not just the moves and the cuts and the roster shakeups. It's the fact that, for those who didn't see the news earlier today, so TJ Hawkinson will be unavailable for the first 4 games of the year. So you could be the idiot who drafted him on August 10th, didn't draft anybody else to play tight end, and now you're screaming, what am I going to do?
You mean Josh Oliver isn't exciting for you there, Josh?
Who?
I know, exactly. I looked up, I'm like, maybe there's value behind. I looked, I'm like, nope. That's just a bad football team, folks. That's just there's a plain old you got Sam Darnold throwing at Josh Oliver. Bring out the kids. Get the picnic basket. This is a terrible football team.
Which is insane, because literally I was talking before you came on, the Eagles, the Eagles, as we know, Andy, the initial 53-man roster, not the final 53-man roster, is going on right now. And the Eagles, they were so unhappy with their tight end room, Andy. They have 2 tight ends on the roster right now. It's just Dallas Goedert and Grant Calcaterra. But those are 2 guys who have a long history of injuries. So the Eagles were so unhappy with CJ Uzomah, so unhappy with EJ Jenkins. They said, you know what? We're better off hitting the market. And I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if a guy like Donald Parham ends up in Philadelphia, because he was playing with Kellen Moore last year.
Yeah, I was surprised to see that cut from the Chargers. Not that, Parham's a league wrecker or anything like that, but he's a big body guy.
Touchdowns last year.
Yes, I know. He's a big body guy. He can block, and he has big body in the end zone, big target. Like that's kind of a nice little ad there, right?
Well, so the flip side, you know who the Vikings cut?
Oh, who?
Robert Tonyan.
Oh, Tunion's back.
But they cut him.
Oh boy. He had that one great year, and then I think just injuries pretty much derailed him, right? That's kind of been the
thing about what you just said. He had a great year, but injuries derailed him. Like, isn't that the story of the NFL at this point? Like,
it really is.
You have all these guys who got cut today, and it's like, like according to reports, Tim Patrick's going to end up. He was cut by
Denver
Broncos. Well, why was he cut? Because he had knee injuries. So where's he going to go? He's going to go to the Detroit Lions practice squad. It looks like.
Wow, I was and looking like, I know he had the injuries. But when you look at that Broncos lineup, you're like, really? You're like, you don't want to maybe let him hang around a little bit? just say, hey, you're not loaded, Sean Payton. Like this, And you got Bo Nix. It looks like he's 40 years old. Oh my gosh. Broncos are they look atrocious. I don't know what they're going to do.
But see, that's the weird thing I was talking about before you came on. Because with the Eagles, it's these questions of you want to keep the guys that you can't get through waivers, right? You gotta. Right. These NFL teams are playing this chess match of like, if I keep this guy but let this guy go, maybe it'll protect some other guy, kind of deal. And you're playing this calculus game where it's like, hey, if you are, and I'm just using it as an example, the Houston Texans, why would you cut Noah Brown? Well, probably because you're trying to make sure you don't lose somebody else, kind of deal.
Yeah. And with that too, that's why we saw several, player X for a 7th round pick over the last couple of days, because they figured, okay, we know another team's going to get him, so let's try to get a little bit of a mark and get something for him. We saw a bunch of those type of deals as well.
I mean, listen, I'm surprised more guys weren't traded, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's kind of that game of like you said, of chess, of chicken a little bit. Okay, who can we sneak back onto the practice squad? Who can get back? Like the Browns cut Donta Foreman. That I was surprised because he was at a rib injury, but I know they're going to try to get him back on the practice squad because now they only have 2 guys on it.
Right. And I mean, if you're the Browns right now, like the fact that you let Foreman go, I mean, that's a real ballsy move. That was
weird. Yeah. Now, the thing is, unless Andrew Berry has his eye on another player that he feels is comparable, who is going to be cut, or they can use in a trade or whatever, that might happen.
I'll read you some of the guys who are available. Okay. Matt Breida was cut. Any interest?
No, done.
Frank Gore Jr. Any interest?
Nah. I'll take the real Frank Gore. Still, I'll take OG Frank Gore. Guy's a monster.
Salvon Ahmed was cut by the Dolphins.
You know what? You might interest me as a 3rd back. He was actually serviceable in spots. Okay, I don't hate that one.
How about Boston Scott? The Rams cut him.
Boston Scott. Oh, well, if he plays the Giants, that's
you do play the Giants this year.
If you put him in the East, yeah. But I think he's probably a little long in the tooth, as they say, to be too much of a contributor. But yeah, wasn't that funny? That was always the prop play, right? Anytime touchdown, Boston Scott versus the Giants, phenomenal. I'd say
cash money, baby.
Cash money. Yeah, if you list those guys and then put Donta Foreman, it's not like he blew out his knee. Yeah, ribbon. He'll be banged up a little. He's not out of commission. So I still think Donta Foreman is probably the best upside out of those. But that Salvon Ahmed, that's the one that kind of, when you mentioned that, I'm like, okay, maybe.
I got one name for you. Samaje Perine.
Yeah, the Broncos let him go too.
Yes.
Why? Like they're I don't know. The Broncos are terribly,
this is a conundrum. Andy McNamara at AndyMC81 joining us here on 97.3 ESPN. I said before you came on, it's a balancing act between saying this guy still has talent. Can my team get more out of him? Versus why did they let him go? What do they know that we don't know?
Is it contract? Right. A lot of it comes down to that. You're juggling not just talent, you're juggling salaries too.
Well, James Bradbury's still an Eagle.
Well, you know what? I saw that before coming on. I thought that was quite interesting.
The Eagles did this whole thing where Howie Roseman came out today. He's like, well, we like his instincts and his skills, and he's a great leader and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no, he's still on the team because you didn't feel like eating the $15 million dead cap hit.
Could he bounce back, though? 2022 Pro Bowler, stunk last year, right? Can we give him maybe he bounces back?
Let me ask you this, Andy, because this goes back to the question we asked before that. If James Bradbury had his best years as a zone corner, and last year they asked him to play too much man, and Fangio wants to play some zone, why doesn't Fangio want him at corner?
Yeah,
so what do the Eagles know that we don't know?
Right. And that goes to always back to, okay, are you trying to fit? Do you have the ego check in you to say, hey, I'm going to put this player in the best position rather than squeeze into my own system type of thing. So that Bradbury one, reading that, very curious. Because imagine for the Eagles, if he can get back to not even a Pro Bowl level, but like above average. You add that extra piece to that secondary for Philly. That's interesting.
It is interesting. And, it goes back to also the Eagles know that they need to have bodies to start the year, right?
Corners you need every team in the league. You need a funnel corners.
Well, like Philadelphia, people might look at the cuts they made today. And for example, some people are surprised they cut Josh Jobe. Josh Jobe had the most snaps of any special teamer in Philadelphia last year. But he's a horrible outside corner. He's constantly being called for penalties. The guy is a grabby monster. So, it's like, the Eagles are like, well, maybe we can get him through waivers, but we can't get Eli Ricks, a guy that people might like. We're going to keep one guy versus the other guy. And, it's like, well, why is Maddox here? Because Maddox can play safety and nickel. Why is Tristan McCollum here? Because he can play safety and nickel and special teams. Why is Bradbury still here? Because he's got a $50 million cap hit.
Yeah. Well, Paris Campbell, I'm not surprised he got let go, but I wonder if he's another one that they tried to sort of swing back because the speed talent is there, but he just hasn't played enough games and he's too injury prone. So I wasn't surprised about that cut, but I wonder if they saw something they like, if they do try to bring him back. Cause that's a guy I think a lot of teams can look at and like, well, hasn't really done much in the league, but there's a
lot of receivers.
Absolutely. There's a ton. Receiver from the offensive side anyway. That's got to be the toughest spot if you're a fringe guy. Because like out of college, every year you got just cheaper, better players who don't have those injury miles racked up on you. So it's tough. Paris Campbell might end up on the Eagles practice squad or out of the league. That's the reality. That's crazy.
I don't understand why some of these guys don't go to the Canadian Football League. Like you're telling me the CFL can't use some of these guys?
Yeah. What about the not the XFL? Was it UFL now?
UFL, yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
That's a spring league. I mean,
to play right now. Yeah. To play. You know what? The interesting thing is that I've interviewed, being in Canada, I've done CFL interviews, interviewing NFL players that would be in a similar situation to Paris Campbell over the years, and they come up. Some make it, some don't. But I asked him, I said, what's the bigger difference? Like on paper, you're like, you're the NFL. Good. Like you should be running crazy over the CFL. Not a problem. They say it's conditioning. They say the conditioning, because the field's bigger, it's longer. You only have 3 downs. They said everybody plays special teams. Like in the CFL, you're not really special in the sense where you don't have too many like prima donnas where it's like you're not doing both. You're not doing double duty. So they say conditioning. Like, Andy, it's like I was out. I took and then I have to go back on again. So the conditioning really kills some of these guys, which is something they don't take into account.
Yeah, it's so weird. And, back to the list of guys who are available. Like, for example, they cut KJ Hamler in Buffalo. Like, think about how insane that is.
Yeah.
Like, you and I talk about the Bills and their lack of targets. Like, if you're the dude who can't make the Bills roster, I mean, what kind of loser are you?
Yeah. How bad is KJ Hamler now? And that's another guy in Denver. Zippy slot guy, Flash got hurt, and now you can't stick. Oh my gosh. I know this is still being filled out, but it's hilarious. If you look on ESPN at the Bills depth chart, the wide receivers, not just are they bad, it's empty, Josh. They have dashes under the third. Look, you have Curtis Samuel, second behind him, backup, dash, third, dash. They don't have backups. They have Khalil Shakir, Keon Coleman, who was brick hands, Curtis Samuel, Valdez Scantling, and Mac Hollins. That's it right now. KJ Hamler can't fill in a dash spot on the ESPN depth chart.
Correct.
Good. Oh, my. Boy, you know what? He better be throwing maybe for fantasy football, Dalton Kincaid and Dawson Knox must own, because I don't know who the heck Josh Allen's going to throw to. Holy cow.
Well, let me read you some of these names, okay? Here are some of the guys who were released. By the way, Andy Isabella was also cut by the Buffalo Bills, so he must not be good.
Yeah, he's glue factory too, yeah.
So, like, for example, the Chiefs cut Kadarius Toney. I mean,
headache.
But, like, for example, you don't have Rashee Rice right now. Hollywood Brown is out. Like, he must be extra headache at this point.
It's, you know what? If I can make a quick fantasy sidestep here, Juju Smith-Schuster, Josh, and maybe I shouldn't be telling you this because, we'll be drafting soon. I'm telling you, I don't think enough people are talking about what Juju Smith-Schuster can do to this team. Who knows where Rashee Rice's head is with? Is he suspended? Is he not? Is that going to happen? What's happening legal side?
Who knows?
Juju Smith-Schuster, Xavier Worthy, I like as a fun little zippy guy, but like that guy, I'm sure you've seen the videos. If he runs into somebody, it's over. It's like me running into somebody, and it is just boom. It's pinball. You're done.
It's like you running into me. You're saying
exactly. Boom, brick wall, done. Except I'd catch you with my championship ring and thingy a little bit there.
you clip me on the way down.
I get you. Yeah.
You'd be like, well, Josh knocked you down. Yeah, but I cut him on the cheek.
I cut him. I got him. I give. Yeah, you'll draw color. Boom.
It's the line from Batman v Superman. Do you bleed?
Do you bleed? But Juju Smith-Schuster, I think, has a chance to be a fantasy guy on that Chiefs team, especially when, as we've seen Travis Kelce sort of take a step back when it comes to a weekly production guy.
Another guy that I'm a little surprised got cut is Terrence Marshall of the Panthers. I mean, you're one of the worst teams in the NFL, and it's like, bro, like you can't make that team.
Yeah. Oh, the Panthers are just, you know what? I have to be honest. The Panthers are probably one of maybe like two teams I haven't thought of once this offseason, Josh. Not one time. They are so uninteresting to me with poor Bryce Young, who just seems like the nicest man. He seems like an absolute delight. But man, he's terrible. And he's 4 feet tall. Stop it. You take CJ Stroud over. Disgusting. Yeah, you can't make that. Who do they got? Deontay Johnson. Okay. Adam Thielen, who had a mini resurgence, but he's ancient. Mingo's not doing. Mingo's a guy. And you know what? You got Xavier Leggett. I didn't mind Leggett.
I mean, Leggett's a good player, but like,
yeah, but still, Terrence Marshall.
You stack the Panthers and Bills receiving cores. There's not much of a difference.
No, and you know what? I would take the Panthers receiving core. That's not saying much, but I take it. At least I know some of the names on them. Good Lord. Like Deontay Johnson's still serviceable, right?
Eddie McNamara is a fantasy football expert, and he even says, I don't even know some of these guys. Like, that's a bad sign for the Bills right there.
Dude, you look at some of the, like, who do you want on the Buffalo Bills as a receiver? I'm trying to hear people talk their way into, like, Khalil Shakir is a sleeper. Stop. Just stop it, okay? I know somebody literally has to catch the football, but no. I'm not putting any Buffalo Bill receiver. They're all off my draft list. Not one. All
right, couple more before I let you go. Eddie McNamara joining us here on 97.3 ESPN. Any interest in the idea that Dalvin Cook could sign with the Cowboys? Like, do you have any like, oh, that's interesting?
I think it would be hilarious because it just shows like Jerry Jones hasn't really watched a game in 4 years because it goes into the Zeke Elliott.
Oh, but you haven't seen the Dalvin Cook workout video.
Oh, the workout video. Yes, of course. All the workout videos. Yes. Every receiver, every running back puts out a video and their workout great. Best player of all time. Sure. Look, Jerry Jones, if he gets him, that'd be, I would honestly legitimately laugh out loud because if you put it back 2020 and you have those two on the same team, you're winning the Super Bowl. Now it's not happening. A Zeke Elliott, Dalvin Cook combo backfield. Eagles fans should be praying for that at this point. That would be amazing. Sure.
And I gotta be honest. I'm shocked they cut Royce Freeman today.
They cut Freeman too. Wow.
I mean, how bad do you have to be the guy who can't back up Zeke Elliott at like 100 years old?
Yeah, another Broncos throwback, right? Now so now we got Zeke, Rico Dowdle, Deuce Vaughn, who's 3 feet tall. I'd say Bryce Young's 4 feet shorter than him. Hunter Lupke. Anyone buying Lupke? Lupke, get over here. He's a team accountant, Josh. He's doing the taxes in the background.
I would almost pay to see Deuce Vaughn and Bryce Young in an arm wrestling competition.
That would be amazing. I'm gonna look. Let's check out Hunter Lupke. I think I'm bullish on him. North Dakota State. Okay, 6'1", 238. Josh, let's go. Let's go. Lupke.
I'm out. I got more hope for Vaughn. At least Vaughn can be a valuable PPR maybe in a deep league.
do the old major league call. Get me Vaughn.
Get me Vaughn.
Get me Vaughn. Get me Deuce Vaughn. What is that Dallas backfield going to do? What is the distribution? Browns playing week 1. I'm going to be paying close attention. What is that ball distribution going to be like?
Well, at this rate, it's going to be Cook starting.
Wow. That's wow. That's wild. CD Lamb got his money, of course. So
did I not tell you week 1, Browns Cowboys take the under? Did I not tell you that before?
Yep. Yeah. Well, the thing is, I have no idea what to expect out of the Browns offense because they have not played together. Nobody has any idea.
Here's what I know. You know who's really good? Micah Parsons and Myles Garrett.
Yep.
That's what I know.
Yep.
Michael, I foresee both of them getting multiple sacks in that game.
I agree.
Both teams' O-lines are meh.
Yeah, they're now for the Browns. They got here's the state of their team now. So they got Jack Conklin back, who's been a career right tackle.
Finally,
who can't stay healthy, back-to-back seasons, serious knee injuries. They're moving him to left tackle because Jed Wills is still off from what was a minor scope in November.
Poor guy,
right? So now you have that. But my bigger concern is how is Deshaun Watson going to play? I know Amari Cooper's real good. I know David Njoku's real good. I know you can go up and down the lineup. That Browns lineup is set, except for the question mark at quarterback. That's the I don't know. So I'm with you. Week 1. I'll take the under on those points and hope the Browns can squeeze out a victory there and put the Cowboys on their heels. Because Josh, I'm telling you, slow start. You get the Cowboys off to like a 1-2, 1-3 start. Oh, but the calamity. It's just gonna implode on itself quickly.
All right, before I let you go, so full disclosure, our fantasy football draft will be this Sunday night.
Yes.
8 p.m. Andy will join me at least for part of the draft on the live stream. Yep. So as of right now, I have at least 2 of the league's actually 3, because I'm a former league champion myself. But you won the league last year, and then 2-time champion Deshaun Hendricks, he'll join us on the stream as well.
Oh, okay.
So we do have a couple people lined up to join us on the stream. So we'll have that. We'll publish that out on our social media platforms at AndyMC81. I'm at Josh Hennig. So Sunday night, Andy, get yourself ready.
I'm so looking forward to this. I think it's going to be a ton of fun. We don't have the draft order yet, do we?
No, I have not set that yet.
Yeah, so that's going to be it's going to be a lot of fun reacting to live and really for you all that tune in, I think it helps watching live drafts because we can all have a plan, but as Mike Tyson said, you get a plan to get punched in the mouth, right?
And there's always that one guy who overdrafts somebody.
Something's weird. You're taking a quarterback when, now, and then a run starts and there's panic, and how do you react? So I think that is useful for guys doing it.
For example, I was talking with Rob Motti from the Associated Press. He was on with me, comes on with me every week, right? Yep. And, for those who don't know, Rob is the guy who he oversees all the NFL for the AP to the point that he is the guy who gathers the votes for MVP, first team, defensive player of the year. Like, he's that guy. Okay. Nice. So he's important. Okay.
Yeah.
But even he said he didn't know what to do with the second overall pick in his fantasy draft. So he took Jalen Hurts.
That is how you just destroy a draft. That throws everybody's weeks of prep out the way. Like, what? Because then you don't know.
Think about that. That's an NFL guy. That is a guy who eats, drinks, bleeds football like you and I do. And he's like, I don't know what to do.
Take your guy.
There we go.
Take Jalen Hurts. What? That is amazing. I would love to see what the rest of his team ended up like. That's a wild pick. Who knows? Might get some crazy stuff Sunday on the live stream.
Yeah, exactly. Andy, I appreciate you jumping on. Always good to chat with you, my friend. And I'm sure we'll be talking in the days leading up. I'll send out a full league email once I actually set the order, because I actually have a real job, unlike some people out there.
Yes. That's right. You got to set up. We'll be ready. We'll be ready Sunday night. So y'all tune in. There's no AEW pay-per-view this week. So Sunday night, all attention, fantasy football.
That's where Andy's real priorities are.
I got the shirt on, man. All In was amazing out of London. It was great.
Andy's priorities in life: family, AEW.
Yep. Fantasy football right underneath, and then the horses, the horse job.
Right, the horses. I can't forget the horses. What is that? My Rail?
At My Railbirds. Yeah, guys, I'm telling you, even if you're not a horse racing fan, we make it really fun. You just for the entertainment, you'll enjoy it. Check out the suit I wore to the King's Plate last week. It's I'm still itching from it. It wasn't the best quality, but check it out. Check it out.
I mean, it looked good on you. I saw it.
It looked good. But dude, I'm telling you, up close, that thing, they got it from like $100 off like a knockoff China place or something. It was terrible. It was sweating in it, but it did the job.
I'll talk to you later, my friend.
All right, bud. See ya.
All right, wrapping up the hour known as Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. Always good to hear from Andy McNamara. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a weird football week, folks. It's going to be a weird week. I'm telling you guys, you are going to see a lot of weird moves happening this week. As I told you before, if you're a fantasy football person, I hope you wait until after these rosters get set, because somebody out there drafted TJ Hawkinson, and now they're like the scene from Sylvester Stallone, the movie Oscar, where he's banging his head against the table because he just is losing his mind. That's who fantasy football players are right now, seeing TJ Hawkinson out for the first 4 weeks. I will not be in tomorrow. I have a personal day tomorrow on 97.3 ESPN. I'll be back in full force on Thursday. Have a great night, everybody.
Hey, South Jersey, this is Billy Schwein. Tune into The Locker Room every Saturday and Sunday from 10 a.m. to noon on 97.3 ESPN. Each weekend in The Locker Room, you will get passionate sports talk from a fan's perspective, along with interviews with some of the biggest names in sports. That's every Saturday and Sunday from 10 a.m. to noon in The Locker Room with me, Billy Schwein, on 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, because nothing could be finer than talking sports with a Schweiner.
Hi, honey. Happy first day back at work. Can't wait to see you tonight. We are so proud of you. Daddy, love you.
There are many reasons to start recovery. If you or someone you love is struggling with addiction, we are here to help. Call us. Our trained counselors are available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to help. Your recovery is within reach. Call 844-REACH-NJ to learn about medication that can support your recovery. A message from the New Jersey Department of Human Services.
Hey, it's Mike.